Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Aquaman, issue number 44. Man, oh man. I really feel like this should have just been rebooted back to issue number 1. Well, this would have been issue number 2, but yeah, similar to Teen Titans, the hardest part about this book was which cover was I going to get. I was so tempted to get both, but I went with the variant, man. Just, ooh, that's a lot of blue. That's a lot of blue. Let's talk about this comic book, brah. So, Unspoken Water, part 2 of 5. Kelly Sue DeConnick is on writing, Robson Roca on pencils, Danielle Enriquez on inks, Sunny Rowe on colors. Those previous three also did the main cover. Letterer VC's Clayton Cowles, and this variant cover that I got in my hands is Raphael Albuquerque. Also, Paul freaking Norris created Aquaman. Okay, there was a lot inside this comic book, and this was a very Wicca-heavy-esque kind of comic book. I don't know anything about Kelly Sue DeConnick, but I'm pretty sure she's a Wiccan. I used to roll with Wiccans a long time ago, back in the day. Actually, back when I was in the Army, because I first started meeting Wiccans when I used to go to church, the Catholic Church. I used to go to Mass on Sundays. It was either that or I cleaned my barracks. So yeah, I went with going to church instead. I used to meet a lot of Wiccans there. Long story, not important. But yeah, and then I started hanging out with Wiccans a lot more afterwards. But this, yeah, she's got to be a Wiccan. This book, dude, oh, wow. There is so much inside this book. I'm going to get to the beginning in a hot minute because I got to just, finish off talking about some of this other stuff in here. Basically, Aquaman, he's trying to find his past. He's trying to find out more about himself. So he goes to the old woman there, who definitely a Wiccan, and he's asking her questions. And it's funny because he's trying to make this seem like it's a comic book or a Wizard of Oz kind of show. And she's doing the same thing. And I don't think that Aquaman, well, in this particular case, just Arthur, whatever he's calling himself at this point, it's just, like he's not getting it, which is fine because Aquaman has always been more straightforward. He's been more, like he uses powers to talk to fish, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to all the things that he could do with being probably the preeminent master of the blue or the clear. However you're going to look at it. Like, this guy, he could do amazing things with his powers, but he chooses to just talk with fish because he's a very humble guy. He's not interested in a lot of other stuff. In other runs, he does explore it more, but here, he doesn't even know he's got it. Wow, man. I'm taken aback by how much happens in this comic book, even though it seems like, there are scenes like where is it? Just actually went to the end. Come on now. Where right before the guys go and kidnap him when they're on the beach, and there's just like pages of these guys just and what horrible placement of a commercial ad, right? Horrible placement of this, guys. Come on, man. Pay attention to the freaking book. And just, this that belongs before this stuff. But man, there's just so much of this, and it's like, does any of this stuff matter? Maybe. Maybe it does. Maybe it's the distraction before the real trick gets shown, But there's so much meat inside of this. But it's a stew. That's what this book is. It's a stew. And you got to kind of sift through everything to get to the meat. But everything is what makes the stew the stew. Is it weird that Italian is always bringing back cooking references? I should do a cooking show. All right, I should talk about comic books while I'm cooking food. I'll just do like chocolate chip pancakes and make everybody happy. Y'all happy now, right? Wait till you find out I'm using almond flour instead of regular flour. Oh, so the end of this comic book was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm just like, holy crap! What a great way to reintroduce slowly Aquaman to the things that he could do. What's the first thing people think of when they think of Aquaman? Oh, he could, talks to fish. Yeah. But then the other thing is, well, he swims and he can breathe underwater. Interesting. I love that there's so much talk about destiny in here. So much talk about like kingship almost, but without actually getting there. Destiny. It seems to be the huge, like if this whole series was just called Destiny, I'd be like, perfect, it's perfect, because that's exactly what they're doing. This is a fantastic way to reintroduce Aquaman to people. I'm telling you, if you're not familiar with Aquaman and you haven't been heeding my word that Aquaman is an amazing character and he's totally worth investing your time and your money into, here's this great opportunity. You got to get used to a different writing style. Kelly Sue DeConnick is not going to just hand you a comic book and be like, well, here you go. Here's some basic. No, it's stew. It's not alphabet soup, all right? It's freaking stew. It's like Hungarian goulash. God damn, I'm making myself hungry. So I got to get to the beginning of this book, man. The beginning of this book, those graphics that I showed you in the previews, oh my God. The artists of this book, boom. I really thought to it, like for a long time, I was really upset because I forget, was it only the first 25 issues or so? I think it went longer than that. But that Dan Abnett and Stefan Sajic, that run, where they eventually replaced Sajic and brought in other artists, like, you know, the other art was close enough, but I mean, we just had the perfect comic book team for Aquaman for a long time. And I said, Kelly Sue and whoever's coming with her, they got a whole lot to freaking live up to, man. Their work is cut out for them. It's like, here, this is a freaking M1A1 Abrams and M1A2. There you go. Fire on the move. This is a badass, you know, vehicle that is going to wreck house. It will wreck you. Face it and get wrecked. Their work is cut out for them, and they just come walking up, be like, deploy tactical nuclear device. Pew! Because, dude, this is not better than Abnett and Sajic, okay? It's different. It's not better. It is in no way, shape, or form worse. It is different. But it's still just, to me, it's still just as masterful. And why is it perfect? Why is it a perfect, different match than what Sajic and Abnett brought us? The first couple of pages. The part with Mira. Okay, everything else that happened is just amazing. But the part that makes it just this grand majesty is when we're dealing with Mira. Mira is about to go and talk to some suitors because the queen must be married. The queen must be married. The king must be married. The queen must be married. People, you got to be married. Traditional, blah, 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 shut up. All right? And she's not having it, so she's not happy. And she's actually talking like a queen. This is perfect because she's been a queen for a little while, but she was very unorthodox. Now she's getting more into it. So I'm glad that Kelly Sue's taken over at this point. She's talking like the Queen of England. She says, us instead of me. Of course, we know that the reason why kings and queens talk like that is because they're not talking about themselves. Since they are the king and or the queen, they are themselves representative of their people. So a good queen or a good king will actually represent their people as opposed to basically saying, let them eat cake or please suffer with whatever. No, rather, they'll actually go out on the streets and suffer with them. And that's the kind of queen that I feel Mira is. We're not seeing that yet. I'm hoping that we will soon, assuming that Atlantis is going to suffer at some point. Without Aquaman, I imagine it will. But Mira talking about her powers and how she uses her powers, the separatedness, great use of a word that I'd forgotten exists. Former university professor for teaching English as a second language. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember that word from way back in the day. It's not a word you use very often. Anyway, wow, man. I've said it before, here it comes again. The greatest couple in all of comic book history is Mira and Aquaman. This is the greatest couple in all of comic book history, bar none. second to none. There's not even a close second. There's barely even a distant second. You could say Hawkman and the various versions of Hawkwoman and or Hawkgirl, usually Hawkwoman. But even then, man, like that's a love that transverses time and nowadays space. But Aquaman and Mera, dude, best relationship in comic books, and it shows here. It shows her love, her missing her man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he belongs to her. She belongs to him. They hurt when they're separate from each other. And you feel it in this. You genuinely feel it. If this scene would have went on for maybe just 2 more panels, I probably would have broke down and started crying. That's how beautiful this was. So the whole comic, doing just the little bit of Mera and the whole bunch of Aquaman trying to find himself again, this just makes for such an incredible love story, but with superpowers. And oh man, this is great. This is great. I might have to argue that, you know, a lot of people saying, oh, DC Comics, man, it's not going so great anymore. I'm tired of DC Comics. Well, you're not reading the right comic books then. Here's one of them, fool. Read this one. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel better about DC Comics, that's for sure. Because I really feel like this team, this creative team right here, who, you know, I'm going to eventually get to the dude. This team right here, man, I feel like this team is a lot of what comics have been missing for some time now. Man, just Kelly Sue, Robson Roca, Daniel Enriquez, Sonny Ho, Clayton Cowles, he's everywhere. This is a fantastic book. I don't know what else to say about this. This is going to be a great trade paperback after the 5th issue comes out. Ooh, I hope they put a bunch of goodies in there too, so that those of us who are buying the comic books also have a really good reason to get the trade also. This is like gift stuff, you know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff they can get a bunch of women to join up in comic books also, because it's not just laser beams and heat vision and beating up Mongol and stuff like that. This is a story. This is an incredible story that crosses platforms. You know what? I'm done gushing over this comic book, all right? Go buy the freaking comic book. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.